Good afternoon, Hawk families. I hope this video finds all of you doing well and excited for the upcoming start of school for the 2020-2021 school year. I'd like to take this opportunity to run everyone through our school level Strong Start plan for the beginning of school this year. School's going to look a little different than it has in the past, but I want to assure everyone that we're going to do everything that we can here at school to keep everyone safe this school year. So, the primary goal for this school year is to ensure the safety of all students, faculty, and staff at Marthaville School. The following plan outlines protective measures that will be taken throughout the 2020-2021 school year. Your main points of contact for this school year will be myself, Ms. Karen Jordan, our secretary, and Mr. Chase Stepp, who is our discipline coordinator for the school. So our guidelines for grouping this year are going to be in static groups of no more than 25 students per class, understanding that individuals may come into close contact and may not be wearing face coverings in grades K through 2. Now, just to clarify, even though we're not requiring students in grades K through 2 to wear a mask, we are recommending that they wear a mask. And if parents would like for their students to wear a mask, they can request to their teacher, and we will do the best that we can. And the main reason for that is to help with contact tracing. So if, let's say, one student were to test positive in a classroom with COVID-19, they then would go through a series of questions and steps to determine who would have to go home. And if you were socially distanced, meaning 6 feet apart, and you had a mask, and all of the safety measures are in place, there's a good chance that your student would not have to be quarantined. Whereas if they did not have a mask, they would at that time. So as far as face coverings are concerned, face coverings must be worn at all times by all adults and students in grades 3 through 8 on campus. Individuals are responsible for providing their own face coverings. We do recommend, if possible, the regular face masks, such as one like this that fits over the ears. They also make the gator masks that slide over the head and pull up over the face. At this time, we're not recommending those. If there are no other masks, it is acceptable if we wear those, but we would prefer that students have these masks in place. Students will not be required to wear face coverings in grade K through 2 unless requested by a parent. Teachers will honor the request of the parent to the fullest extent possible. Teachers of K through 2nd grade students cannot require students to cover their face. Okay, so temperature checks. A thermal camera will be mounted at the front door entrance for both elementary and junior high school students this year. So every student, when they arrive at school that morning, whether it be on buses or in car line, if you're an elementary student in grades pre-K through 4th, you will enter in the elementary building in the main entrance. Junior high will enter in the main entrance on the junior high side. A camera will automatically check their temperature, and there will be a teacher on duty with an iPad that will be able to see everyone that walks through the door's temperature. If they register as 100.4 degrees or higher, they'll be pulled to the side. We'll give them a few minutes. Sometimes it registers as high. We'll recheck their temperature manually. And if it's still high, we'll walk them over to our sick room. And our sick room that we're going to use this year is the computer lab adjacent to the main office. So it's right near the main office. If they register higher than 100.4, again, at that time we'll call parents to come pick their children up. So we will have the thermal cameras that are on both main entrances, and then we will check manually after that just to be sure. Employee temperature checks will be taken at clock-in and recorded on the sign-in sheet every day as well. So employees will have the same measures in place as the students. Okay, as far as our sick room this year, the computer lab next to the main office will be used as a sick room. Kinder mats will be laid on the floor, spaced 6 feet apart. And the room will not be used by any students or employees if it is occupied by a symptomatic student. So we won't risk exposure to anyone else. Okay, for our arrival in the morning, as I've already stated, pre-K through 4th grade students will enter the main entrance to the elementary building. 5th through 8th grade students will enter the main entrance to the junior high building. Students will hand sanitize when entering the building, passing through a thermal scanner. There will be hand sanitizer stations placed throughout the school, but there will be the main ones will be right by the main entrance. Any student with a temp of 100.4 or higher will be checked again manually and, if confirmed, escorted to the sick room. Doors will be propped open to limit contact exposure. As we all know, high contact points, door handles would be ones of those that are touched numerous times throughout the day. So if at all possible, we'll keep the majority of our doors open so people can pass in and out without having to touch throughout the day. Students, when they come in that main entrance, they will go directly to their classroom. If the student is eating breakfast, they will leave their backpack at their desk and proceed to the cafeteria. They'll retrieve their breakfast and take it back to the classroom, and we'll ensure that social distancing is occurring at all times. So the students will be eating breakfast in the classrooms this year. That'll keep us from having large groups of students located in the lunchroom. Okay, as far as hand sanitizing and hand washing, we'll have approximately 10 stations placed in high-frequency areas throughout the school and in each classroom. Students will sanitize before exiting a classroom, and they will sanitize prior to coming back into the cafeteria for breakfast and for lunch. They'll wash with soap and water prior to leaving the restroom. Okay, classroom cleaning. Our classroom surfaces will be disinfected twice daily in the pre-K through 4th grade teachers' rooms. Classroom surfaces will be disinfected during transition periods between classes by junior high teachers. So the elementary classes are going to be in the same classroom all day, and those teachers will be disinfecting within the classroom. The junior high classes will be moving between classrooms, but every time there's a transition or a different group of students come in, all of the surfaces will be sanitized in between. And the teachers will submit a daily checklist for disinfecting procedures weekly to me. Water stations, we are replacing all of the old water fountains in the school. They'll all be disconnected, and we're replacing them with water bottle filling stations. These are touchless, so every student will be required to bring a water bottle to school, and they can simply just hold their bottle underneath the station and it fills the bottle, and they'll have those bottles with them all day. So we will not be using the old water fountains anymore. Students are encouraged to bring a water bottle to leave at the school. Okay, as far as hallway and restroom cleaning, the custodial staff will disinfect high-frequency hallway and restroom areas throughout the day, and the custodians will also complete a daily checklist for disinfecting procedures, which will be submitted weekly to myself. All right, during lunch, our students will sanitize hands prior to entering the cafeteria. Classes will rotate through the cafeteria one at a time, socially distancing in line, receive their lunch, and carry it back to their classroom to eat their meal. Teachers and cafeteria servers will fill a bag with the students' choice of milk, silverware, condiments, and carry that to the classroom for the students. Large trash cans will be placed at the end of each hallway for tray disposal, and each classroom teacher will follow a strict schedule to enter the cafeteria in order to ensure social distancing during mealtime. So basically, the classes will rotate through the line in the cafeteria, receive their trays, and go back to their classroom, and we'll just keep one class after another rolling through. Lunch should probably take us all of 30 to 40 minutes to get through on a daily basis. Okay, restroom procedures. The teachers will adhere to a strict restroom schedule. They will limit the single student trips to the restroom to the greatest extent possible. We all know emergencies happen. In that case, definitely students will be allowed to go. But the teacher will have numerous times throughout the day where they can bring the entire class to the restroom, and the restrooms will be sanitized immediately after that class leaves. So a single static group may enter the restroom at a time, meaning if I'm in, say, Ms. Frelia's class, we are a static group amongst ourselves, so we can go in the restroom at the same time and exit. It'll be sanitized after that class is through before the next one goes in. Okay, and students will be required to use soap and water to wash hands prior to exiting the restroom. Recess this year. As far as recess goes, students will have recess on a daily basis, depending on the weather, according to the master schedule. Students will not be able to use the playground equipment, and students will have designated play spaces separated from other static groups. So in the past, for instance, both 4th grade classes were able to go to recess together. That will not be the case this year. In order to keep our static groups, we will have one 4th grade class having recess in one area, and another class will be in a completely different area. We have roughly 4 to 5 spaces on our campus that we utilize for recess. So as far as PE is concerned this year, students will be allowed to attend PE each day. No equipment will be shared. Only non-contact games will be played, and students will be required to social distance during PE. So we're excited. We have a new PE teacher for elementary grades this year. Her name is Miss Emily Ford, and Coach Johnson will continue to teach our junior high PEs. I think in PE class they're going to have to be creative, but we're going to utilize a lot of in-focus projectors where we have different types of things that the kids can do on a daily basis. But the children will have PE every day, and they will continue to have recess every day. Okay. As far as some housekeeping issues for the office, there will be some significant changes. The main one is that parents will not be allowed to enter the school buildings after the week of August 31st, at least while we're still in the phases for the pandemic. So as of next week, your child will be attending one day, and teachers should be sending out phone calls today letting parents know which day their children will be coming. But in grades K through 2, we will allow parents to walk your children into school that first day. So we'll have to do temperature checks and fill out some paperwork, but you are allowed to come that day, and I do encourage to go ahead and bring the students supplies that they have from their supply list that day as well. But after that, after next week, we will not be allowed to walk our children into school. If a student is tardy, parents will walk them to the door and sign them in on a clipboard that will be placed outside the entrance to the junior high building, which is the main office. So instead of, like in the past, we would walk our student into the main office, sign the paperwork there, there'll be a station set up outside the main office where there'll be a clipboard, and if a student is tardy, you would go ahead and sign the student in on the clipboard and send the child into the office, and then we would take care of it from there, get them to the class. If there's anything that a parent needs to drop off, belongings that were forgotten at home, and we know it happens if they forgot their lunchbox or backpack or whatever it may be, they'll place them on a cart outside the front door. So we'll have that station set up with a clipboard to sign in for students that are tardy, and that's where you can drop anything that needs to be delivered to the school later in the day too. Just please make sure that it's labeled with the child's name and teacher so that we can take care of getting that to the right place. If at any time parents need to come into the school for a reason, you'll have to set up an appointment, call the office. Ms. Karen will take your name, set you up, and then we'll be able to move forward with an appointment after that. Okay, so if we suspect that a student has COVID-19, so if a faculty member or staff suspects a student is displaying symptoms of COVID-19, they will immediately contact myself or Ms. Karen Jordan, our secretary. Other faculty and staff members or central office should not be contacted. Administration will contact the parent. Not adhering to these guidelines is a violation of HIPAA. So what that means basically is if anyone is suspected of having symptoms of COVID-19, we will not be sharing that information even amongst ourselves with other teachers or with students. Whoever determines that those symptoms are there will contact myself or Ms. Jordan, and we'll make a direct call to the parent from that point. Basically, the way the process works, either myself or Karen will contact Ms. Page at the central office for further instructions. We ask that the teacher or faculty member does not bring the student to the office. Stay where you are, contact myself, and then we'll come down and escort them down to the office. Decisions on sending teachers home, students home, closing classrooms, and or the school will come directly from Ms. Page and Mr. Eloy, using guidance from the Department of Health and Hospitals. Kind of a similar policy if we have suspected faculty or staff members, and the same for anyone involved, faculty or staff on our campus. So that in a nutshell is all of our Strong Start plan. I'm sure there'll be other things that come up as we go. I'm very thankful that next week we're able to start school on a limited basis with a few students each day. That'll help us go through everything and make sure that all of the measures we're putting in place are followed exactly like they're supposed to be. We are all super excited for our kids to be back at school, and I know all you parents are excited as well. And I promise you that we're going to do everything that we possibly can to keep your children safe. So please have trust in us and have faith in us. But I'm excited, and I hope you guys are excited as well. So with that, I'm going to leave you for this evening. And I know this wasn't a traditional open house like we normally have, and because of some technology issues, we weren't able to do this in a live fashion where I could answer questions in a Q&A. But if you do have any questions that you would like answered about any of these procedures, please send an email directly to me. My email address is mnicholson@nat.k12.la.us, and I will get those answers back to you as soon as I can. Or you're welcome to call the school during school hours at any time to Miss Karen, and she will forward those questions to me as well. So I look forward to seeing you all in the future, and go Hogs.